Good morning, student. I, Purnima, welcome you to the class. And children, today we are going to do all the important question answer, additional question answer from the sample paper. And once again, I will be revising the background and the important points of the poem A Tiger in the Zoo, written by Leslie Norris. Now, before starting the poem, I would like to tell you something about the poet Leslie Norris. So Leslie Norris was a famous Welsh poet, as I told you, and he was also a short story writer, but he had written this wonderful poem. And he was born in 1921 in Wales. Leslie Norris had decided even at an early age that he would become a poet. He was very much interested in the poems of Dylan Thomas and Vernon Hawkins. His first poem was published in 1918, but his first book of poetry came out in 1943. In July 1942, Norris married Catherine, better known as Kitty. They moved to England and trained themselves to be teacher and children, but when his first fabrication came, that was finding gold, he became famous. His work won various awards, including the Colmondelli Poetry Prize and Catherine Mansfield Memorial Award, until he died in 2006. So, this is a beautiful poem. Consists of 5 stanzas and it is made of 4 lines each. The rhyme scheme is ABCB. Okay, of all the 5 stanza, the rhyme scheme, as I told you, you can see also any stanza. Like suppose if I will be reading the first stanza, he stalked to his whip with stripes. So stripes, cage, quiet, rage. Okay, so stripe A, and if cage is will be B, quiet will be C, then rage again will be B, because cage and rage here, this two sound resembles with each other. So you can easily children find it out the rhyme scheme of the poem, like he is talk in his vivid stripes. Let me tell you how to find the rhyme scheme of the poem. So let me take the first stanza. Okay, he is talk in his vivid stripe. So we will see the last word of each line. So stripe is a word which is coming for the first time here. So we will name it A. Then the few step to his cage. Now this again is a new word. The last word is a new word. No word is resembling till now, because stripe and cage, they don't resemble with each other. So stripe is A, cage is B. On pairs of velvet, quiet. Now this word is not resembling with each other, quiet, so this is C. But you will see the false line in his quiet, rage. So we will see the last word of the second line, cage, and the last word of the fourth line, rage, they are matching. So rage will be in the category of B. So children, your rhyme scheme will be A, B, C, B. Okay, so you can find out the rhyme scheme with the rest of the children other stanza also. The first setting is that of the zoo where the tiger is put in a cage. Now children, if you will read the poem, as I told you, and we have discussed also, that you can find it out that children, there are 2 settings of the poem is there. One, the tiger is seen in a zoo, while as in other stanza it is seen in the jungle. It is living in his natural habitat, that is in the forest. Okay, so where the tiger is in the first setting is that of the zoo where the tiger is put in a cage. The second setting is that of the natural wild habitat of the tiger, which should have been his real place. But the children, the forest area, it should have been his real place. The personification of the tiger is evident, as the poet called him he and not it. The metaphor pads of velvet is used effectively in the third line of the first stanza. The tense tone represents the hidden rage of the tiger. Now I will be telling you about the children, all the children background of the background of the poem. So in the first stanza, it can be seen he seems he's walking in a quiet his rage. That is, he's very angry as he is put in the cage, and he's walking with a slow step because the space is very less there. So the dweller of the forest is forcefully put in a cage, reluctantly, unwillingly. He is living there. Children, that cage, the tiger cage is in the zoo. There in his artificial habitat. So it is not in a cage. Of course, zoo, if you will see, water body is also there in the cage, a large place is there, and the food is also quite satisfactory, whatever is given to him. But then also he is not happy. He's living in an artificial habitat. He walks in a quiet rage. And children, the stripe on his body, that means the part tiger is of yellowish brown color, and the dark brown stripes are there on his body, which is quietly visible, which can be seen from the distance also. Children, the stripe also definitely is of darker color than the rest of his body. The tiger moves very softly and quietly with his pads of velvet. I told you what is pads of velvet, the lower portion of his claw. Okay, it is pads of velvet, but the range of his movement is limited. He goes on moving around within the confine of his cage. The tiger doesn't relish the stare of the onlookers in the zoo. His rage or anger is suppressed. Now children, in the second paragraph, the writer wish that we should not catch such a powerful animal and keeps in a zoo. He should have been in his natural habitat. So what writer is telling, he wanted to tell us that the tiger should live in his natural habitat. The poet mourns that in the zoo is not the rightful place for the tiger. He is a denizen of the jungle. Denizen means he is the habitant, he is the citizen of the jungle. His real place is in the forest. Had he been in the wild, he would have been lurking around in a shadow. He must have been sliding quietly through the long grass to ambush his kills. Now, he's children wishing if he would have been in the forest, what he would have been doing, he would be lurking around in shadows, and he must have been hiding near the children behind the long grass near water body to kill and hunt the animals like plum deer, which is his favorite food. And he would know where he could get his favorite hunt, the plum deer, near the water body. He would approach the water hole quietly, where animals and deer come to drink water, and in this way, children, he would kill one of the deer and get his food. Now, the third children stanza is telling the free movement, that he is very much free in the forest, and he can go wherever he wish, like he is terrorizing the villagers. Had the tiger been in the forest, something he would stray into human settlement. He will go to the human settlement. He would stray around the outer skirt of the village, and there he would be there at the outer skirt. What is the meaning of the outer skirt? The outer part of the village. Okay, and that village is situated at the edge of the forest. That's why he can easily go there. These human settlements are at the jungle's edge. On seeing the villager, he would open his long sharp teeth and claws to terrorize the residents. But it would be just a show of power and strength to the villager. He would have no intention of killing the villagers and entering their houses. The poet tries to say that generally the tiger never attacks, still he is highly provoked. Killing is not his hobby, but only the necessity of his food. Now, the fourth paragraph is dealing with the forest in a zoo. He is caged there, and the writer is telling, alas, the tiger is not in his natural habitat in the forest. Unfortunately, he is locked in a concrete cell of his zoo. His powerful and strong body is of no use to him. as he is put behind the bars. Bars of what? Bars of a cage inside the zoo. His movements have been limited. Why, children? His movement is limited because the place is very less. He is confined to a small space. That's why his movements have been limited. He is continuously moving about the length and breadth of his cage. He doesn't relish the curious stares of the visitor. He simply ignores their presence. Children, the visitors are coming in a zoo and they are seeing him, but he ignores them. He is quietly sitting, ignoring the stares of the visitor. That means again he feels that he's the most strongest animal. He doesn't care about any human being. He's sitting quietly and ignores the presence of the human being. Now, children, the tiger is last and is really very touching. The poet describes how the day ends for the tiger. He doesn't go to sleep. He's very much worried, and that's why he's not able to sleep till the late hours of the night. He hears the sound of the cars of the zoo official patrolling at night. The stars shine brightly in the sky, and so do his brilliant eyes at night. He is constantly looking at the brilliant star. Alas, he watches the brilliant star only behind the bar of his cage. So, this is all. Children, I would like to discuss once again the main points of the poem. The tiger is not in his natural habitat. The wilds of the jungle is the natural habitat of the tiger. What is the wilds? Wilds means, children, the jungle or the forest. That is the natural habitat of the tiger. Unfortunately, the denizens of the forest has been confined to a cage habitat in a zoo. So that unfortunately he has been locked in the cage in the zoo, and denizens means the citizen of the jungle. He is no more free to roam about in the forest, but walks within the length and breadth of his cage. So he is no more free to roam about in the forest, but walks within the length and breadth of his cage. He has dark spot on his skin, which is clearly visible even from a distance. Condemned to live in his cage, he walks around quietly with his velvety, soft feet. He is angry, but has to suppress his anger because he's quite helpless and he don't want that everybody should laugh at him. In his quiet rage, he continues walking up and down his caged habitat. The poet imagined how the tiger should behave if he is in his natural habitat, the wild jungle. There he should be silent, hiding himself in the shadow, remain unnoticed. Sliding through the long grass, he should move stealthily to ambush his prey. He knows where he can find his kill in the wild. His favorite hunt is the plum deer, which come to drink water near the water hole. Sometimes, children, he comes out of the forest and goes to human settlement at the edge of the jungle. There he terrorizes the villagers by opening out his wide fangs or the long teeth and the claws. His ferocious look frightens the villagers. However, he has no intention of entering the village and killing anybody till he is highly provoked. Unfortunately, the mighty tiger is cursed to live in a concrete cell in the zoo. Many visitors come to see him in the zoo, but he doesn't like the stare of those visitors. He just simply ignores them. He ignores their presence without taking any care of them. Now he is made to limit his movement only to the length and breadth of the caged habitat. The tiger keeps awake till late at night. He hears the noise of the patrolling car moving around in the zoo. The brilliant stars shine in the sky and his brilliant eyes shine in the night. He can't free himself, but he keeps on watching the brilliant star standing behind the bar of the cage zoo. So, children, I have discussed all the important points. Now we are going to do the important question answer, and first the textual question answer. So read the poem again and work in pair of group to do the following tasks. Find the word that describe the movement and action of the tiger in the cage and in the wild. Wild, I told you, children. What is wild? Forest. So, children, movement and action of the tiger in the cage is stalking, and then stepping, at least he was walking on pads of velvet, quite. Then third is ignoring, fourth is here, and fifth is stairs. Stairs means seeing to the stars. Movement and action of the tiger in the wild is lurking, sliding, snarling, bearing, terrorizing. So these words we have already discussed. Now, question number 2. Find the word that describe the two places and arrange them in two columns. Now try to share ideas about how the poet uses words and images to contrast the two situations. So places in the cage is cage, concrete cell, behind bar, the length of his cage, through long grass near the water hole, around houses at the jungle's edge. Now children, now question number 2. Notice the use of a word repeated in lines such as these: of pads of velvet quiet in his quiet reach, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant star. What do you think is the effect of this repetition? So the word quiet appeared twice in line 1, velvet quiet, and in line 2 also quiet raised. So children, one is velvet quiet, here quiet is coming, and then in the other line quiet raised. So quiet is repeated twice. The poetic device of repetition is used when a particular action is emphasized. The word quiet is used for describing the quiet movement of tiger's velvety pads. In the second line, quiet stands for silent or suppressed rags. The word brilliant is used twice, first as brilliant eyes and then as brilliant star. It signifies that the brilliant eyes of the tiger are as brilliant as the brilliant star shining in the sky. Now children, this two poem is given, the tiger and the panther. This you have to do by yourself and do by yourself. Okay. Now children, question number 4 is a writing skill. Okay, that also you have to do. You have to write a paragraph, and that also you have to do by yourself. Okay. Now we will be doing some additional question from the sample paper. Alright. So here children, we will be doing some additional question and answer from the sample paper. How does a tiger stalk in the cage? My first question is, how does tiger stalk in the cage? The tiger is not in his natural habitat, the jungle. He is locked in a cage made up of cement and concrete. He keeps on stalking inside his cage from one side to the other. He is walking in quiet rage with his heels which are padded like velvet. The tiger, once again I read the question and answer. How does a tiger stalk in the cage? The tiger is not in his natural habitat in the jungle. He is locked in a cage made up of cement and concrete. He keeps on stalking inside his cage from one side to the other. He is walking in quiet rage with his heels which are padded like velvet. How does a tiger prepare himself for hunting when he is in his natural habitat, the jungle? The mighty tiger roams freely in his natural habitat, the wilds. He knows how to ambush his prey. He waits for his prey lurking unseen in the shadow of trees. He slides through the long grass quite unnoticed. He comes to the water hole where he can find his favorite prey, plump deer. How does a tiger terrorize the villagers? Does he have any intention of killing them? Sometimes the tiger roams around freely and comes near the edge of the forest. He comes very near to the house of the villagers which are situated at the outskirts of the jungle. Roaming there, he opens out his white sharp teeth and paws to terrorize the villagers. He has no intention of killing them, or as he never attacks, still he is provoked to do so, and also he never enters in their houses. Question number 4. How does a tiger feel locked in the concrete cell of the zoo? Why does he ignore the visitor? The tiger is basically an animal of the jungle or wilds. He is a denizen of the forest. Being locked in a concrete cell of the zoo, he feels quite helpless. His immense strength is of no use to him. As he is put behind the bar, he only stalks the length of his cage. He ignores the visitor who came to see him uh, after buying their tickets. He doesn't want to present himself as an object of entertaining others. What does a tiger do at night? What does he feel when he stares at the brilliant stars in the sky? The patrolling car moves around and the tiger hears their sound late at night. He is locked in a cage but stares at the brilliant stars shining in the vast and open sky. The vast open sky and the brilliant star only intensify the feeling of helplessness that he feels inside the cage. So, now, how would the tiger react if he is left in his natural habitat? Definitely, children, he will walk freely, he will hide behind the grass, and he will do his favorite thing whenever he will feel children hungry. He will go near the water hole to attack a plump deer. Why does the tiger show his wide fangs and claws to the villager? What is wide fang? The teeth of the tiger. So the tiger shows his wide fangs and claws to the villagers just to make them frightened. It is not his intention to kill anybody unless he is being provoked. He frightens them and then he comes back. Freedom can't be bargained at any cost. What message does Leslie North give to the readers in A Tiger in the Zoo? I think this is the message of the poem I am going to discuss, and you have to note it down. Not only humans but animals too cherish freedom. Freedom can't be bargained in this cage. A tiger may be well fed and protected. However, the curtailment of his freedom keeps him in a quiet rage. He resents being behind the bar. He is a different animal when he is in his natural habitat in the jungle. He roams around the waterhole freely and ambush his favorite plump deer. Question number 7, children. 10. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling car. Who hears the last voice and of what? Well, the tiger hears the last voice, that is the sound of the patrolling car of the officers at night inside the zoo. He is imprisoned in a cage in the zoo. The patrolling cars are making a round of the zoo to see that everything is all right, and he is the one who is still awake at night watching the star, and that is the reason that he can hear that sound, that voice of the patrolling car, and stare with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant star. Why are the eyes brilliant? What is the common between the eyes and the star? The tiger eyes shine brightly in the darkness of night. The stars are also shining in the sky. The common thing between the tiger eyes and the star is that both are brilliant. What message do you get from the poem? From this poem, we come to know that animals like to live freely in the forest. The animals do not want to live in the zoo. Their life is pitiable for them. Bearing his wide fangs, his claws, terrorizing the villages. Who bears his fangs, and how does he terrorize the village? The tiger bears his wide fangs. He terrorized the people of the village because he kept snarling around the house. Now, one or two long questions also I would like to do with you, children. So my first question is, give contrasting picture of the tiger in his natural habitat and as in the locked cage of the zoo. How does he feel and behave differently at both the places? The tiger is a denizen of the forest. He loves to roam around freely in his natural habitat. in the jungle. There he is totally free with no restriction on his movement and activities. He knows how to ambush his prey. He waits for his prey lurking silently in the shadow of the tree. Then he slides unseen and unnoticed through the long grass. He knows where he can find his favorite hunt, plum deer. It is a water hole where they come for drinking water and become easy victim of the mighty tiger. The tiger knows no boundaries and limits. Sometimes he roams around the house which are situated on the edge of the jungle. With his open white teeth and powerful paws, he terrorizes the villagers. He rarely attacks them until he is provoked. However, it is a pathetic picture of the same tiger when he is locked in the cage of a zoo, or he is locked in a concrete cell in the zoo. The mighty and ferocious animal is put behind the bars of the cage and he sits there helplessly, roaming here and there angrily. There he stalks in quiet rage. The length of his cage compared to forest is less, and he confines himself there. He becomes just a piece of entertainment for the visitor. But the proud tiger just ignores them. At night, from behind the bar, he keeps on staring at the brilliant star in the vast sky. The vastness of the sky and the brilliance of the star only intensify his loss of freedom. Now, one more long question, children. Freedom is such an essential virtue that is valued not only by human being but also by animal also. This is a value-based question. So, what we are going to do here? Freedom is such an essential virtue that is valued not only for human being but also by animals alike. Justify the statement with reference to Leslie Brown poem A Tiger in the Zoo. So freedom is an essential virtue valued by all, not only humans but even the denizen of the forest value it. No one knows it better than a caged tiger in a zoo. Animals, particularly the animals of the wilds, feel free only in their natural habitats. Any attempt to domesticate ferocious and mighty animals like lions or tiger by locking them in concrete cell will be against natural justice. The tiger roams around in the jungle, hunting its prey at will. He rarely kills his prey for sport. So what do tiger generally do, student? They kill the animals for their food. They hardly, children, they don't kill the animal for the sports or for the enjoyment. He kills them only when he is hungry. He knows how to ambush his prey. He lurks unnoticed in the long grass before pouncing upon his prey. He also knows where he can find his favorite plum deer that is near the water hole. He may come out of the forest sometime and terrorize the village living at the outskirts of the jungle. He rarely kills them till he is provoked. The same tiger feels depressed and low in spirit when he is put behind the bar. He stalks constantly the length of his cage in his quiet rage. He ignores the visitors and he feels helpless. Behind the bar, he keeps on staring at the brilliant star in the open sky. This sadly reminds him of the loss of freedom and intensifies his grief. So, children, these were the all important questions from your book and from your children sample paper also. And then small question can also come from the sample paper, like what does a tiger see and hear at night? So he sees the brilliant star. And what does he hear? He hears the sound of the car, patrolling car of the officers which are taking round to see that everything is all right in the zoo or not. Why does a tiger ignore the visitor in the zoo? He ignores the visitor in the zoo because children, he doesn't care for the human being who are constantly looking at him. He ignores them. Okay. So he ignores the visitor who comes to see him after buying their tickets. He doesn't want to present himself as an object of entertaining others. Why does a tiger show his white fangs and claws to the visitor? To the villagers, just to frighten them, because it is not his intention to attack or to kill anybody until he is provoked. So with this I end my video here, and with this I complete my chapter also. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.